I'm Paul Rothschild. I prefer he, him pronouns. I work for the Illinois Coalition to End Permanent Punishments. We go by endpp.org because our name is kind of long. And I'm the managing director of operations there. And my organization's primary focus is removing the barriers that people face from arrest and conviction records so that they can successfully return to society. The problem that we have identified is that when people accept a plea deal, which is over 90% of cases in the United States are settled by plea deals, they're told that they're going to have a sentence that they need to complete, maybe some supervision or probation afterwards, and then they'll be done. And that is not the deal. When they have completed all of their time and they're supposed to be free, they face a web of barriers, over 40,000 of them nationally, about 1,000 in Illinois, the way we calculate it. Barriers that prevent them from accessing housing, education, employment, civic engagement, based solely on the fact that they have an arrest or conviction record. The power of leading with conviction is balanced between the content and training that we receive and the network that we are building. So it's the connections that the cohort builds with each other, which are permanent and will never disappear, as well as the hundreds and thousands of other participants in the Just Leadership USA network who we're now connected to forever. That's a really powerful network of people that work in social justice. I have peers I can reach out to in policy, in administration, and operations to compare notes across states, across organizations. So that's really powerful. But then the training that we're provided in breakthrough action leadership, storytelling and narrative, and of course the VPSA, which is the Value Problem Solution Action framework for basically like identifying a problem and a solution and then communicating it. That VPSA model has been incredibly powerful and has bled from my professional life into my personal life, where I can use a VPSA on the fly to help convince a group of people to go clean up garbage with me. It's really powerful. And then the executive coaching and peer coaching that were provided, as well as the training to be a peer coach, are really invaluable in terms of the self-reflection that we receive to help better understand ourselves as leaders and identify areas of improvement. I thought I was a good leader because I got stuff done. So if a coworker was struggling to complete a task, I would just do it. And it didn't really occur to me that that was being a bad leader. So I really have learned quite a bit about the power of enabling others to act, as well as just not just stepping in and solving problems, but really thinking about leadership development. And so when I allow a coworker to struggle through and eventually get to a solution, it may not be the exact solution I would have gotten to, but not only do we have a solution, but we now have somebody who has had practice and has been further developed as a leader, and they can then take something off my plate, something that might have been my responsibility, so I can work on other things, and they've now developed further as a leader. So it's really a win-win-win for myself, the other person, and the organization. I do think that just the credential of Leading with Conviction 2024 cohort, that means a lot. And when I go places and use that as a credential in the social justice world, people know what that means. They know the training I've been through and the network that I have access to. So it's a powerful credential. In the space that we work in social justice, that's a known credential. Just Leadership USA is a known and respected organization. And I joined a network of 9 previous cohorts now who are Leading with Conviction graduates. And everyone I know, literally, that I deeply respect in this work and that I model myself after, are all people who have graduated from this program. So this is a natural kind of development for me in this career path. But then in addition, the tools that we've been given, the leadership development, I really see myself as somebody who's going to be able to be a leader in a nonprofit space where I have a goal I want to accomplish, but also along the way I'm developing other leaders so that they can support that goal or their own goals, and they can move social justice forward. If, the millions of formerly incarcerated people in America could all develop these skills and be nurtured and developed as leaders, then we wouldn't have to go begging for scraps at the legislative table to try to get small changes made in legislation. We could really set the table and dictate the terms. I think that it's very normal in kind of the white male corporate world to develop people as leaders, right? Folks who come up through that world are often identified early and given every possible advantage and resource. And what we have here with Just Leadership USA is, let's take the best of these schools. We got Harvard, classes on leadership and narrative. We've got content from the Opportunity Agenda, like all these great organizations, which is now being brought together in a training framework, specifically targeting people who are formerly incarcerated, who by the very nature of the system represent marginalized communities. We're talking about, disproportionately represented minorities and people of poverty, who normally are the exact people that are cut off from having access to the resources, training, and development that's required to become a true leader. And so Just Leadership USA really bridges that gap and brings these incredible skills and tools and training to this population so that they can make changes for themselves without having to rely on others. The folks that I've met along the way and relationships that I've built, we got our whole cohort on a group chat, and it's already popping. But the idea that we have this group of 31 people, I think, that we can throw a question out to, like, hey, I have this problem in my state. Do you guys have this problem? How have you seen it solved? And literally people are dropping legislation language in the chat of like, here's what we passed in our state. Here's the language we used. So I think we're just scratching the surface of the power of the network. And over the next years and decades, I think that the ripples will continue to move out into the world.